It's the old Doctor Who show, episode number 105, War Games.
Go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
You couldn't control my mind before, and you certainly can't control it now.
Would you like a jelly, baby?
The TARDIS, when working properly, is capable of many amazing things.
Reverse the polarity of the neutron flows, and the TARDIS will be free of the force field.
But the TARDIS is more than a machine. It's like a person, you see.
The resulting reaction is Friday. Are you ready?
This is the old Doctor Who show, your tri-weekly classic Doctor Who review podcast. We are coming to you here at the very end, the bitter end of 2020. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa. What else do I got?
I think
Happy New
Eid is in
Year.
there.
If you're getting the, I think
New Year's coming up.
Will people listen to this in 2021?
Maybe.
Is Wednesday 2021? I don't know.
No.
Okay,
But
so
they
you'll
may
be in
listen to it on the
2022.
weekend after. Hey, that's
Yeah.
Eric over there.
Hi.
And I'm Dan. We're co-hosts of this podcast
Yeah.
that you're listening to now.
Did you have a good Hanukkah there, Dan? Hanukkah
Yeah.
Mixed with Christmas. You do both, right?
I do as much of both as. Yeah, sure. Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep. So I did
Just
the
Couple atheists.
weird holiday season. Spent just Joe and I and the dogs like normal, like any other day of the week. So that's fine.
Right.
But at least I got to light candles for 8 days and got to see my mom cry on FaceTime because we weren't there for Christmas this year. So that's cool. Typical. It's typical Christmas. It was pretty cool. How about you?
That's
How about you and the
sad.
kids and the fam?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's sad.
I mean,
What
it
a
was
sad
it's
image.
fine.
That was. It's fine. We were fine. It's a
fine.
weird. It's weird. It's a weird holiday. So it's not normal. You don't have the normal family together and whatever. It was all fine. It's all fine.
Yeah.
We got no complaints. Everything
Good.
kind of just generally sucks. So we're all equally sucking, not sucking each other, sucking in our
Try
own,
that again.
sucking ourselves. We're all equally sucking ourselves in a non-pleasurable way. That is 2020, right? Could be better, could be worse. But we got Doctor Who to talk about. And speaking
Wow.
of Doctor Who, I'm just so behind. I haven't watched any of the last season, even though I can at HBO Max. And I feel like maybe there was just a special holiday. Did they do a holiday special that
it's
we
coming.
missed?
It's
already been
they're doing
spoiled
it
for
New
me.
Year's Day.
Yeah, it's already
New
been
Year's
spoiled.
Day. I haven't
who's
seen
in it.
anything about it. I don't know anything about it.
Good.
I can't even remember if I finished.
I think you
this
did.
last
And I think you
season.
liked it.
I
Didn't you?
remember liking it. I remember what I saw. I liked more than I thought I did initially, but I don't even remember if I finished the whole. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
And if you like that kind of
Nothing matters
commentary, you'll love you'll love our
You'll
other.
like it if you can remember it.
Yeah, wait till you hear what we have to say about the episodes when we have watched them. So should we just jump in and cover what we have watched? I hope you've watched it. I hope you've played your war games, Dan.
I played my reindeer games. We're all set.
Well, imagine
Eric,
that we accidentally watched reindeer games with Ben Affleck. Is it Ben Affleck that's in that movie? What is that movie? There is
Yeah.
a movie called Reindeer Games that could be Janine
Yeah.
Garofalo and Ben Affleck. I don't know if
I'd be
Janine
very
Garofalo-
surprised by that. I would like to see it if it was Jeannie Garofalo. I was just looking her up on IMDb the other day because I haven't seen her in a long time and I was hoping she's okay.
And is she?
But IMDb didn't know.
Okay.
Someone should check in on her.
Okay. Yeah, if you're out there, I hope you're okay.
Somewhere in the West Village of New York. Could you please check in on Janine? Okay, Eric.
Charlize Theron. That's who is in Reindeer Games, not Janine Garofalo.
I do get those two confused a lot.
Yeah.
Which one was in Monster?
Okay, so let's just jump into this whole thing. Let's just hit our
Hit that
buttons.
button.
You hit first, then I'll make the sound. Whoop. You can tell we're all tired. It's just like a tired 2020, just like cranking, getting the Doctor Who
well-
show crank and just putting it forward.
We're up here in Vermont, and the weather hasn't been awesome for skiing. So all we've been doing is hanging out in a small condo, drinking all day. So I'm a little bit out of it right now. Okay, let's hit that button.
Okay. Yes.
Miss Doctor, what was it?
I don't know, Zay. Some sort of force field.
Where are we? There's no sign of the war here.
Yes, and the guns have stopped too. Yes, it's on, Jamie.
Feeling better?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Oh, okay. Finally.
Let me do it.
War Games.
War Games. It's the story of a too smart for his own good teenager named David
Oh,
Lightman who hacking gets into
stop
trouble
it.
after he connects to Whopper, the U.S. military's war operations plan response computer system. Along with his friend Jennifer, David has to convince Dr. McKittrick that the global thermonuclear war simulation is in fact real, and the only way to stop it is to find the program's creator, Dr. Stephen Falcon, in the hopes that he can find a way to make Whopper realize that war is a game in which no one can win. Eric, what did you think of War Games?
I think that you and I have been working together for too long, my friend. Here is my description. After human missile controllers prove unreliable, the U.S. military switches over control of their nuclear arsenal to a supercomputer called Whopper. David Lightman, a super smart high schooler who wants to play next year's computer games today, breaks into the wrong computer system and ends up connecting with Whopper and plays a game of global thermonuclear war. Unfortunately, when the simulation starts and Maurice from Northern Exposure thinks that it's real, things get pretty tense. Fortunately, it all ends with a game of chess. We both went for the same low-hanging fruit that is the War Games. We've watched the wrong movie. Yeah, that's too funny, Dan. I literally, that was, yeah. Yep. No wonder you're like, did you write this description? Yeah, there we go. So neither of us have the real description.
So, no, are we done? Is that it? Was that a review? I think Ali Sheedy was great. Really underrated in this.
Yeah. Not as underrated as the General Sideburns, General Smythe. No, this is directed by David Maloney, written by Terrence Dix and Malcolm Hulk. It's 1969. Season number 6, lucky number 6, and it's the final serial. It's in black and white. Dan, what did you think of the War Games? The real War Games, not the Matthew Broderick vehicle that we both love, which is actually a pretty good movie. I remember it being a good movie. I have not seen it since I was 9 or however old I was when that came out.
Oh, I watched that movie 1,000 times when I was a kid, and then I did watch it as a sentient, somewhat adult, and still liked it quite a bit.
I think it's a good movie. Fairly the whole thing with
Joshua.
It's always felt fairly realistic. Even like the human, what's it called when you get information from a human? What's that called? Social engineering. You know, and he's like getting the password from the secret. Like all of that stuff is much better than some of the 90s computer movies where everything's going through a 3-dimensional tunnel, and then you get to like graphic of a lock, and they're like, I gotta hack past the lock, and then it opens like an animation of it opening. It was more the black terminal screen with the green.
You're describing my favorite sequence in Weird Science, but that's okay. that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So the War Games.
Yep.
So we watched parts 1 through 5 out of 10, and
half.
I could have sat there and watched all 10 at once. I really enjoyed this so far.
Okay.
I did not watch all 10 at once because I'm not going to do that to myself. But this is a lot of fun. So this is Troughton with Zoe and Jamie. So that's a good combo that we've seen a few times before. It's one of those things that you wouldn't think I would like so much because it's definitely one of the kind of a historical, at least a historical setting at first. But immediately we're met with characters in the story who I loved. I immediately loved Lady Jennifer. From the outset, there was something going on. Like she's the first one to indicate that there's something wrong with her memory because she can't quite remember how long she's been there. She was intriguing.
The
yeah,
medic,
she's the
yes,
medic.
yeah.
So she was interesting from the beginning, and then you have Carstairs, who has a really interesting name. So he was kind of on board with the supporting characters already. I really enjoyed. I really liked the Butcher. Was it General Smythe?
Smythe, yes, with those great sideburns. And they all have
great
like
sideburns.
the Dream a Little Dream 2 glasses that let you control what the other person is doing. Of course you remember Dream a Little Dream 2, Dan. I don't need to tell you. Dream a Little Dream 1, the Jason Robards, and there's like a Freaky Friday switcheroo. But Dream a Little Dream 2 features magic sunglasses that you can put on and control other people.
Nope. Was that also... That was one of the Coreys in the first one, right?
Oh, it was both Coreys in both of them. And the second Dream a Little
thank
Dream
God.
2, Feldman is full on MJ. So the whole movie is just excuses for him to dance like Michael Jackson, and it features the red-haired actress that was in Twin Peaks season 2 that got in between the two brothers. Remember, there's the mayor and Dougie and I can't remember the other one's name. But anyway, that Dream a Little Dream, the glasses.
Right.
That's where Doctor Who actually took their idea from. Dream a Little Dream.
They went to the future.
It was very influential. Yeah.
Right. It's shocking to me that I didn't see Dream a Little Dream 2 because I was very much into the Coreys around that time.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was awful, but it didn't.
Not
I liked
even
License
ironically.
to Drive when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like it was, I liked whatever. It didn't matter.
Yeah, most of my watching is ironic based, and this one's not even good for like.
You can't even do that.
The concept of just the glasses is funny in its own right, but it's painful.
Wow. Okay, so we're gonna skip the War Games Part 2 and watch Dream a Little Dream 2 in 3 weeks. So everyone find your laser discs.
I mean, who doesn't want a 1995 direct-to-video release with the aging Coreys?
I think everyone wants that. Okay, sorry. So back to this story.
So you like the General Smythe with his Dream a Little Dream glasses. That's where we went.
I like the overall setup. There's a mystery going on. Why are they? They're in what looks like World War I era, but people are having memory issues. And Smythe, there's definitely something going on. And as it develops, just the additional layers that keeps getting added onto it. There's the mists, and we find out that there's actually many different war time zones being put back to back on this map next to each other. There's a materializing box that sounds suspiciously like a TARDIS. There's mind control. There's so much going on, and it just keeps on going further and further. And you go inside the box, and there's this, the war command or war chief and the central command, and brainwashing and everything. It just kept going, and everything they added onto it just kept heightening the story. As opposed to, in some cases, I feel like that can weigh a story down as you keep adding plot onto it, and it feels like a Jenga tower that's just about to fall over. This one just kept getting more and more interesting as it went on. I really enjoyed it so far. Eric, tell me what you thought of the War Games Part 1.
Oh, the War Games Part 1, or Part 1 through 5, I should say. I'm sending you also a poster, the Dream a Little Dream 2 poster, that hopefully will trigger memories, because clearly that's what I'd rather talk about. No, this was good. Wow. I felt it was a little long already. I know this is a 10-parter. I'll talk about the positives.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to stop you right there.
It felt a little.
I take
long.
it back. This was much later. I would not have watched this movie. There's a reason I didn't watch this.
No, this was 1995. We had already been working together almost. I think within the next year,
almost
we would be working together. So yeah, this is a little
I'm
later
looking
on
in the
in
reflection
career.
in the glasses, and I can see Corey Haim's hairline receding, and this is the wrong era for me. Okay, never mind.
Things are not going well for anyone involved in the making of the movie or the people watching the movie. It's one of those things like it's a perfect circle of failure. If you're in front of the camera or behind the camera, it doesn't matter. Everybody loses.
Something went wrong to get you there.
The War Games.
Going back to,
I was very happy with the War Games as it went. Like, especially I felt like episode 2 was really good because it changes the what you think it's going to be, right? So you go into it, you think it's just going to be this thing that's taking place in World War I, and it's a usual typical Doctor Who story. But then you realize it's something else. Oh, they're actually some kind of time travel device happening, and you're going through this mist, and then now you're in another time, and then it changes again, and you realize that no, it's actually. I think we do learn it is another Time Lord, right? So like the War Chief is another Time Lord.
They didn't say it yet.
Pretty much say it though, right?
It.
So you get the. And maybe I'm wrong, and I have not read about
because we haven't
this,
watched
so
it,
that was
and I'm trying not to read anything.
Yeah, that was a good thing going into this too. Right, I didn't know anything.
Before we do the recordings, I go back and I read the synopsis again of the first parts that we've watched.
Yeah. I think it's clearly a Time Lord.
In my head.
I feel like we're supposed to know it's a Time Lord, right? Because you get the TARDIS sound, you get the whole TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside. Blah 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 blah. The War Chief looks at the Doctor, instantly recognizes him, and screams. Yep. And then the security guy talks to another guy, and he's like, this dude is a traitor to his own people. And they're like, this new guy is able to time travel. And then they're like, well, the War Chief says he's the only one that's able to time travel. And then the guy says, not other people of his kind or type. So they're all from Gallifrey. Well, it's a Time Lord.
Okay. I don't disagree with you that that's what it's setting up, but I don't know, because I didn't want to do any research and I don't want to have anything else spoiled for me. I don't know that there are Time Lords in Doctor Who yet. I don't know that there is a Gallifrey yet. This may be the I think this may be foundational to it.
Oh, so we've never heard of the word but in the Hartnell years,
they may have mentioned Gallifrey.
Don't they say that
I don't even know.
He stole a TARDIS? Like that whole thing is not established that he stole the TARDIS, and it doesn't matter.
They don't get into right. It's hard for us. Dear listener,
right?
Stick with us here, because you know that we're bouncing through all these stories and we're not doing them in chronological order. So it's hard for us mere mortals to remember which pieces of information we're already aware of and which we're not. And like I said, I don't want to go back and do any additional research because I'm lazy as hell, because I don't want to have it spoiled for me. But I don't think we've talked. They may have mentioned Gallifrey. They may have even mentioned that he's borrowed the TARDIS, but they don't get into that whole stole the TARDIS thing.
It's all very new. We're establishing mythology. Yeah. Every episode becomes the new canon because it just hasn't been explored. But anyway,
so I think that's where we are right now. But yeah, you're right.
I think he's definitely of the same type as the Doctor, and they know each other. They have a relationship because he reacts immediately to seeing him. And then the Doctor somehow runs off and then is able to like constantly con people, where he's like, oh yeah, I was just chasing her. And then they're like, okay, here's access to all of the things. Like it's not the brightest group, and they've all got those scorpions, forks for eyes, sunglass set that they all wear. That's really...
I really thought that you were going to go with... I thought you were going to go with Devo for that instead.
Yeah, it is Devo-ish. It's very... what's interesting is this is the last Troughton story, right? So last black and white story. It's the last story of the season, right? And then the next season, I believe, is Pertwee. I think that's the case. But what my comment was going to be, if that is true, is this still feels so old. And obviously it's monochrome verse color. But the way it's written and the art direction and all of the things seem like it's completely from a different time versus the Pertwee one. Now, if that's the case, it just seems so interesting to go from this Doctor to what happens in Spearhead from Space, because Spearhead from Space, even though it is old, still feels very modern to me compared to the two. But in any case, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know, man. The other thing is Jamie, right? So we meet a character from the 1700s. We meet a redcoat. Jamie meets a redcoat. Once we establish that these are different sections of different times, he meets a redcoat, and they know each other. So I'm assuming that's a previous story.
They don't know each other. They just
seem to recognize each other because Jamie came. I don't think we saw Jamie's first story, and he came from fighting redcoats. So that
we did not.
That character wasn't from that story.
I don't think he's from that story. They're from the same time. They just recognize each other as being a redcoat and a Highlander fighting.
All right, they don't have a past. They don't have a history.
I don't think they have a past. It doesn't seem like that. I didn't get that from this, but we didn't see that story.
We never see that revolutionary guy again, right? The red coat. He sort of gets. I thought he was going to get murdered off. He gets shot, right? But you don't see it. You hear a gunshot, and then they're like, "We shot one of them. We're bringing the prisoner." The doctor's like, "I want to." He just yells at everyone. He's like, "I am the security, whatever." And then they do say like he got shot in the leg, or so. They don't say he died, but I don't think we ever see him again. And it feels kind of like, well, why is that guy even? There's a lot of these parts of this story where it's like you could have cut 50%, and we haven't even gotten to the back half. Maybe the back half is perfectly paced and every episode is needed. But in this one, I feel like you could have lost 50% of this whole story.
Huh.
And just, it seems very long, and like there's lots of just scenes. But it's all fine. Some guys have monocles, that weird guy that's doing like the Russian/Nazi, then he's like the dirty Southern cop person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what accent are you doing? Like when you get to the Civil War part where the South are the friendly guys, that was a little strange. And the North are the dummies. He comes on and it's like that weird, like what voice is that you're doing? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's come back to that in a second. But I think I'm surprised that you say that you think so much of it could have been cut out.
Oh yeah,
that's usually
definitely.
my line.
Cut him out. Plenty of driving, walking up a hill, looking.
Okay.
There comes the Romans, running back to the car. And let's be honest, like 2020 is hard, but can you imagine having to crank the front of your car? We all take a minute to realize that is the thing that nobody does anymore. But like, so you have like the cranking of the front, and then the Romans are coming and crank, and then they just drive away. And then they're like, there's lots of that stuff. There's lots of filler things that are just stretching out, especially like episode 3 and 4 probably could have been combined into one. It's fine. It felt a little bit longer to me than maybe you.
There are the problems, and I noted this myself before we talked, but like there is the problem that I bring up a lot in longer stories where it's the chase back and forth between the same locations over and over again. So there is a lot of that. Like they escape, they get captured, they escape, they get captured, they get captured by different people, but they go back to the same place again.
Keep going back to the same office.
So there's a bunch of that. So I agree, but I think with the red coat showing up, we still didn't know at that point what was going on in terms of the different wars going on in different areas, different times. So that was like the first indication that there was some other ahistorical thing happening at that moment. So he was necessary. I don't know that if he comes back again or not, but
did they abandon? Yeah, did they abandon Lieutenant Casters? Like, remember, like Lieutenant Casters? So that's, I think Casters is his name. It's something like that.
Carstairs.
He's the good guy.
Yes.
And he's like shooting. I don't know. Remember if it's the Romans.
They're in the Civil War area.
He's shooting, and then they just take off in the van and leave him.
Yes.
They could have tried to get him, and they're like, fine. And then he gets tortured, and he gets his mind wiped and rebooted several times. And then they take that doctor, who the scientist rather, the doctor convinces the scientist that he's like a student and knows what he's doing, and you got to do this thing, blah, blah, blah. And they stick him in that brain wiper machine and just leave it plugged in, cranked up, and he's just sitting there and must be in horrible pain.
To be fair, the doctor did turn it down from maximum to leave him on a simmer, like you said. So that's fine. So they did leave Carstairs volunteered to stay behind because the ambulance ran out of fuel.
He does say he volunteered.
So he volunteered to stay behind. And they willingly just like, okay, cool, we out. And they just run through the woods.
I feel like
that did happen.
It's fine. It's all good.
It's fine. So then there's so much going on with like in the Civil War era. Like they get captured twice in the span of 5 minutes in the same barn. Like, it's just really silly.
That's what I mean. There's so much of that. Like, they get captured by the North. Then the South frees them. Then the Nazi Southern bad guys, like they're Northern spies. Then they get captured again. And then the black soldier comes and frees them, and they don't say thank you or anything. They're just like, okay, I guess we deserve this.
Right.
And then they get captured again, and then now they're stuck with I guess the resistance crew that is all working together.
Right.
It all feels very Westworld too, like if you're watched the.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
But it's fine.
Yeah.
It's all good. I feel like it's a little long, but I like all the unexpected. I like how they're changing things, and it's going against some of the tropes, in the sense that you think it's going to be this thing, and then they're sort of changing it up on you, and it's whatever this greater concept is that we haven't figured out.
Yeah. I like that, even though it is early in the production in terms, relatively speaking, for Doctor Who, and I think it does fall off later, it does feel like right now they have a lot of money to spend on production design, because even though I did mention they keep going back and forth between the same places over and over again, there's a lot of locations and a lot of outdoor shots as well. So, I mean, not only do you have the headquarters and the, we see them in the trenches, we see them in this barn in the Civil War era, then all the interior shots inside this not quite TARDIS green machine as well. There's just a lot going on in there, and everything feels very distinct and, looks pretty high quality. I think you can get away with a lot in black and white that you can't necessarily get away with on video and color like they have later. But I think it looks really good. It stands up pretty well.
I liked it. It's got some good messaging too. Like, I like the idea of war through time and the madness of war and following orders from someone to do something, and you have to sort of blind, like the whole putting on the bifocal or the monocle or the glasses, and your leader's telling you to run up a hill and you're doing it even though you're going to get mowed down, and how bad World War I is too was a good war to set that. The whole madness thing in. So in that aspect, I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, and you see when we're inside, what do we call this? This central zone. When we're inside the TARDIS machine, they give it a name, but I can't think of what they call it. Doesn't matter. But you can see the two different commanders talking about how they're going to I'll bring troops in this way, and that's really going to test your the resolve of your military. Then I'll bring my troops around this way and flank them. So it's just like this. It was, these two leaders that are basically moving toy soldiers around and just watching how they're going to crush each other. And they keep bringing in reinforcements and grabbing people out of time to bring them in and just keep throwing bodies at it. It's an interesting story. I'm very I'm looking forward to seeing where this actually goes, because they do have some of the morality and metaphor. I guess it's less the metaphor, because it really is just talking about war. But I'm interested to see where it goes, where they actually take this ultimately.
I'm interested to see like what the connection to Time Lords are, or like the fact that they say he turned against his own people, or he's a traitor against his own people. Like, well, what does that mean? And like, what is the point of all of it? And maybe there is no point, and that's the message too, that there is no point to war. It's just sort of endless. But I don't know where it's going to go, so that makes me kind of like it.
Well, we do have some inkling. Does Spearhead start with the Third Doctor having been what do you call it, like relegated to Earth? Haven't they punished him for some reason? Isn't that why he's there?
The way I remember it starting, like I think the TARDIS materializes and Pertwee falls out mid regeneration.
Yes.
So something's gonna happen to Troughton at the end of this, whether he dies or is punished or whatever. But and then the thing is that he has lost his memory, right? And he doesn't know how
they take some of his memory. That's what, because can't use it.
So he's been punished in some way by the Time Lords for doing something in this story.
This is actually pretty. Yeah,
we'll figure that.
This is
out.
Cool that, in a way, having seen these out of order and having seen Spearhead so long ago, honestly, when we reviewed it, now to kind of put these pieces back together is kind of interesting in a way that unintended. If we had actually watched these in a chronological order, we wouldn't know what's coming up, and it would be a complete surprise. So there's one sort of pleasure in that,
Yep.
but there's a different sort of pleasure in seeing like, oh, we know this part that's coming up. How do these pieces interconnect? And that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I like seeing like this. I'm assuming it's another TARDIS. It makes the TARDIS sound. It's bigger on the inside. All of that, like the way that it looks, they're landing. It's landing in a barn, but it's not looking like something in a barn. So does it not have a chameleon
Right.
circuit? Or did the different TARDISes, some have the chameleon option that you have to pay extra for to upgrade, and some don't.
Right.
And like I like the doors look like some kind of cabinet you would put pasta in or whatever. Like it has like a IKEA feel to the whole thing too. So yeah, the
I love that
interior
design,
was
honestly.
cool too.
Yeah. The design of the way the door opened, I thought was very cool. And it, you see that the first time whenever it's whatever his name is, General Stryker. No, what's his name? Smythe. That's it. When it opens up that way, like that looked really cool, but it didn't immediately evoke a TARDIS. So
Yeah.
like they can give you some information and keep parceling it out as the story progresses and kind of clue you in.
It's interesting to watch this too. A great cliffhanger too, right? So the end of this is Jamie dying, I think, right?
Yeah.
So they're flying in the other TARDIS, right? They're not in our TARDIS. They're in the enemy TARDIS.
Correct.
And the door's open, and like
Yep.
there's a bunch of soldiers or whatever, and they all shoot.
The Resistance coming out.
The
Yep.
Resistance is coming out, and then it's a big pile of dead bodies, including Jamie.
Right.
But like that, I'm not used to saying like we don't. Oh, it's a real cliffhanger for us because we're not going to rewatch these episodes for a while, so we don't know what's going to happen. I assume Jamie dies.
Right.
Maybe Jamie does die.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Because we don't have him in Spearhead
It's
from
true.
Space, so he could well die. I'm going to say he doesn't.
I'm
And
gonna
he'll
say he
return him
does.
to his time, or the Time Lords will return him to it. But same thing with Zoe. Like we don't know
dead.
what happens to Zoe.
Right.
I felt she's a great character, but I'm trying to think of like her role in all of this was, and I can't think of it.
Well, she was instrumental in figuring out. She frees the Doctor by finding the key to the prison in the first or second
yeah,
episode.
that's true.
She's the one who finds the communications panel behind the painting. So she starts putting some of the pieces together.
That's true.
They
Yeah,
even make reference to her photographic memory as well. When he asked her if she can remember the map or something like that. Remember something or other. She's like, of course I can.
I
so,
like the whole
yeah.
like you talk about the picture, like that there's a picture and there's like a video phone behind it, and that they can't see it, which is another thing that reminded me of Westworld, where if they see like something from our time, they can't sort of understand it. But that was cool when they overcame that, and then
Right.
now they see it, and all this stuff about take the red pill kind of stuff that's going on with the people within it. They don't really explain like how that works. Like they're being pulled from time, right? And then they're just running them through some kind of head software
Processing thing, yeah.
download or like I doubt we'll ever really get into any of the details on how that works. Like all
I
these
thought it was pretty
people,
cool,
these
though.
people are not Gallifreyans that are running this tech. Like who are they? Are they
Right.
humans?
Right.
Are they aliens? Because we're not on Earth yet. Everyone they're
definitely not
taking is
humans.
from Earth. It's not like
They're
we're-
not humans because they refer to the humans
Yes.
behave this way and the humans. So they're not human. They're not Gallifreyan.
There's something else, but yet we're
So what
running
are
from
they?
time zone to time zone and just dealing with human time zones. Like it's not like
Right.
we're going into a war on
Right. So who are these
Zeta
scientists? No, that'd be crazy. That's an uninhabited planet.
No, I guess Zoe's fine. I like Zoe. I guess you're correct. She did have.
Well,
some
there is
stuff
so
to
much
do.
going on in these, and I think it seems like for the most part that the secondary companions, the ones that are just for this story, do have a fair amount to do. We have Carcer's doing a lot. Like I said, we have Lady Jennifer has a fair bit to do, especially in the beginning before she's basically sent off to go take care of wounded Confederate soldiers.
I think that they do a little bit of. Doesn't she say like, "I want to go with you guys," and is it because I'm a woman? And then they're like, "No, we need you as a nurse." Don't they
Right,
say that? Did that
right.
happen? Or
Yes,
did I make that
exactly.
up?
Yeah,
Okay, that did happen.
No, you're right. That's when they send her off to go help the Confederate soldiers. So that was interesting. It is fun to hear the Confederates, when they're in the U.S. Civil War and they're all doing American accents of varying degrees.
Yep.
Pretty fun. Like you had mentioned that whatever it is.
Yeah, like the Confederates are played as the
Nazi
gentlemen. Like, they're like, oh, hell yes, the Yankees are monsters. And like, it was a weird.
That is a little troubling. But they were much more successful in the Southern accents than they were in the Northern accents. So it is fun to hear, like, I'm sure British people get really sick of Americans trying to do British accents. It's equally as fun for us to hear British people doing American accents. I think Harper...
Well, like 98% of our television is British people doing American accents. Like, every show you watch, you're like, and then you see the interview, you're like, oh, I guess that guy's not... He's also British. It's just like this BBC HBO machine that just spits people out into every show.
We were watching... Have you watched The Crown at all?
No.
Okay. Well, Gillian Anderson is in the most recent season, and my boyfriend didn't realize that she was actually British. He'd never heard her speak with her own accent before. And she's playing Thatcher, so she's not speaking with her own accent. She's speaking as Thatcher. But then we saw interviews with her later, and he's like, wait a minute. Because you just know her as
Agent
Scully.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great. She's one of the most successful, I think, in the American accent. Anyway, leaving all that aside, is there anything else that we do see, I don't really think in this era we see much of the sonic screwdriver.
No, and you get
it doesn't
demonstrations.
It doesn't end up being the fix-all thing that it becomes in later Who. Like the psychic paper would have been like clearly when the doctor goes in and he's just ordering the guy around and says he's from the ministry and he's looking over he wants to see the prisoners, blah blah blah, and he's just bullying his way through. Clearly in modern Who that would have been flipping the psychic paper out and it would have been a little joke about it. What does it actually say? Blah blah. They didn't even bother with that. Likewise in this era, the sonic screwdriver I don't really remember being much of an important tool. But in this case, it's actually a screwdriver.
Yeah, and he
actually uses it too.
Twice.
And
like that's what I mean. It's like you get like
I love it.
And now I'm unscrewing it. Now I'm screwing it back in. And then later he's like, remember I did this trick? And he's like, yeah, you did the screwdriver trick. Let's do it again. And you see the screw go down and then the screw go up. So it's like that probably could have been cut. But that whole scene was interesting too because when the doctor is with the British, he's all trickery and I'm here because of this and I'm a security guy. But then when he's with the Germans, he's like, yeah, I'm straight up from the future. He goes right for the truth. And of course, they don't believe him until he shows that clearly I'm not a spy because I have a fancy screwdriver.
I have a fancy thing from the future.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention, I was talking about the production design, but I forgot to mention when they're inside the whatever it is, the not TARDIS. And they're taking Zoe to be questioned. It goes full on, the interior goes full on The Prisoner with like swirly 60s walls, paper in the background, and like she definitely, I really felt like she was going to say at one point, I'm a free man, not a number.
Yeah,
didn't happen. Was really hoping for it.
Yeah, all the design in those like future things were great. I agree. And even like the weird like Viewmaster deluxe helmet thing that you would put on to see stills of people. Like, which one of these is the traitor? It's like, well, clearly they're all the traitor because you've got a collection of slides of who they are.
You've been taking the photos, you creep.
What do you need her for?
You definitely know there.
Yeah.
But even like the soldiers they have in there that are dressed all in black, like weird plate leather dominatrix kind of outfits, totally great with the masks, and it was super cool. It was definitely a very 1969 sort of feel to it.
Yes, but again, it still feels like a far cry from... And I guess maybe it's as simple as it being in black and white, and it's just my own brain. Like, when I see Spearhead from Space in color, it just feels so much more modern. But, I think that could be something that simple. I don't know, Dan, do you have anything else to say about this?
Especially like color on film as opposed to color on video, like later, feels good. No, I think we pretty much covered all of it for now, but we have 5 more parts to go.
We do. We have a long way to go. But maybe it will be. Maybe my opinion will change, and each part was necessary.
I think they were overall.
I think you could have done the whole 10-part thing in 4 parts. I mean, then it's not as epic. I understand it's like an epic thing, and I do like the scenes of
Wow,
them
hot
driving
take.
zone to zone and having to get to the map where there's like the zone that doesn't have a label, and like and that kind of stuff was cool. So I mean, I can understand 10 weeks of this being exciting for a kid or something to watch. I just feel like there's definitely some excess.
Oh wait, this is a kids show? Shit. What are we doing? Why are we watching this damn thing?
Yeah. When this
awesome.
came out, like all the kids watching this are probably dead. Like we're watching. So puts it into perspective.
That's not fair.
No,
It was only 50 years ago. That's not fair.
It's fine.
Yeah, this story is about 50 years old. That's kind of
Yeah,
fun.
they're not dead.
Eric, what else? What else do we have here? What else?
We
is in the
have.
news?
I'm done. I am done. I know we got some emails,
I'm
which I'm
done.
sure you're well aware of, that we can read, including one review that must be from a non-US iTunes review, which is always, as you know, one of my favorite things. Did we get anything? Unless you have anything else to add, did we get anything on Twitter or Instagram or any of that crap?
We did. I just closed the thing that has all the things in it, though.
Well,
Hang on 1 second.
Then I will read the review.
Okay,
while
got
you
it.
get that going.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is a review from Jeff W. This is from one of the, I'm going to assume one of the iTunes stores. He doesn't say. But it says, in a word, TODWS is refreshing. Two amiable sci-fi geeks, Eric and Dan, that's me and you, Dan, chopping it up about classic Who for an hour or so is a delightful experience, and they bring an effervescent energy to their show, which in this age of toxic fandoms is all the more appreciated. What adds to their charm is that they're new to classic Who and don't know what the hell they're talking about at times, which they freely admit. And I find myself smiling as we collectively revisit these beloved stories with fresh eyes and irreverent wit. It's impossible not to like Eric and Dan, though I sometimes disagree with them, because their obvious love for Doctor Who makes good companions of us all. This is like a great speech at the end of something, like the end of our lives. It's the last thing we hear. Then the van door
Is this
closes.
our eulogy?
Then the tape goes over our mouth. In short, TODWS is funny, smart, and well worth a follow for all sci-fi fans, not just Whovians. Entertaining repartee and obscure references abound, and there's even cool, cleverly selected musical tracks to cap off each episode. In parentheses, Gold Dust Woman for Revenge of the Cybermen genius. It's an underrated gem of a podcast, and I, for one, am all in. Well, thank you very much, Jeff W. We appreciate the very kind and very generous review. So thank you. And if you want to be like Jeff, you can go to the iTunes store, or I don't know if Spotify has written reviews.
Spotify does not. I just found out from Jeff W. It doesn't.
Throw some stars or whatever on whatever platform of choice you use, and if it's a non-US iTunes review, do what Jeff did and email it to us. Otherwise, we will find it, because I do look at the US store.
Yes. So going from there to Twitter, Jeff W. is a new follower. So he tweeted at us there as well and mentioned, hey guys, just recently discovered your pod and think it's dope. We know, Jeff. We just read the email. Thank you so much. I listen to it on Spotify when I can. I enjoy the insight and banter. A fave moment from The Rescue when you opine about the two dudes in tennis whites. Yeah. Merry Christmas and keep up the great work. Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate it.
I forgot about those guys.
That was so great.
Hanging out there, just bust through the wall like the Kool-Aid man.
Bernard says, watched this when I was sick. My mom, who never watched sci-fi, ended up watching all 10 episodes over 5 days with me. She loved it. It's liquid gold Doctor Who. It does go down smooth like boiling hot gold. So I agree with that. Stephen Alexander says, thrilling. This will be a great TV series in its own right. The premise is so strong. You've got some marvelous performances. Watch out for the scene where the Doctor gets recognized.
Yeah, I think we got that one. That's got to be the war. What's his name? The war
chief.
War chief.
War chief.
Who's an interesting Eric.
Thank you.
We didn't really talk about him. I like him kind of as a villain, and he's got like the medallion. Like I wish that like his shirt was cut open and there was a lot more hair in his chest, and then the gold medallion would be on top of it.
That would have been the 70s.
Short of
that would
that,
have been 70s,
yeah,
and that would have been Sean Connery.
Yeah,
Actually,
we were
instead,
a few.
but that's fine.
Yeah, if he was in like that Zardoz Mankini
exactly.
thing, this whole
Of course,
thing
it was
would take
Zardoz.
a different.
Well, that's the thing. You're right. With the medallion that he's holding there, I didn't think at first that he was a Time Lord. I thought there was something else
neither
going
did I.
on. Like that was some signature of some other thing that we're supposed to recognize. But no, I don't.
When they introduced the TARDIS sound, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is a Time Lord thing. And then I kept expecting we haven't seen the real puppet master yet, and that was going to be a Time Lord. But then when the security chief had that conversation, and he said, then it was like, oh, this guy, War Chief, is the Time Lord. Maybe that's not
right, because there is. You're right. There is the Warlord that they mention who hasn't been seen yet, so we don't really know. Is he a third different alien race that we don't?
Yeah,
we don't
we'll
know.
see
There's
what
so many
happens.
questions.
It could be a
So many questions to
Dalek.
answer.
You don't know. It's gonna.
You don't know.
What's gonna happen, Dan.
Could be anything. But that was all of the. Thank you everyone else who retweeted and liked our tweets about this.
Yeah, and just
but
to pause
feel
for
free to write to us.
Pause for station
Yes.
identification for you. I really want a GIF of the Doctor when he's wearing those dumb glasses doing the shushing motion, because I feel like you could just use that for almost any occasion. But go
Eric
on.
is now requesting reaction gifs. So if you guys want to request reaction gifs as well.
But you know what I'm talking about?
several-
It's like the best scene because he's wearing those dumb glasses, and this poor sap that keeps getting his brain wiped finally comes to, and he's doing like the talking junkie Mr. Show thing where like he's rubbing his eyes because he sees like the Doctor, and he's just like, shh. And that happens twice. That same scene happens twice because later on he gets deprogrammed again and then sees the Doctor. That happens actually a couple of times, and then Jamie comes in when he's prisoner and sees the Doctor, and the Doctor's like, "You'll get a Doctor later." Like, there's multiple times where some character is recognizing the Doctor and the Doctor does not want to be recognized.
Yeah,
Go
you're
on.
right. That is a.
It's a recurring,
all right.
recurring motif here.
Anyway, I think that's all of it for.
That's all we
for the
got?
tweets. If that's it, that was it. I'm sorry.
Okay,
guys. Next time we have 5 more parts to go, though. So please, if you had more thoughts on this story, please let us know by tweeting to us at TODW Show. You can also follow us on Instagram at TODW Show. I'm going to put up the GIFs from this first 5 parts like normal. And if you want to send us emails, do that at theolddoctorwhoshow@gmail.com.
Yep.
You can also go to theolddoctorwhoshow.com and check out all of our past episodes, all of our past GIFs. I post a lot more GIFs on the website than I actually post on Twitter or we put up on Instagram, so you can check out the rest of them there.
Yep.
And you can leave some comments on the episodes page as well if you feel like it.
All right, wait. I got one more thing.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Here it comes.
No. We got a message I forgot on Instagram.
Message.
Let's see. Okay. Someone just saying, Merry Christmas, Dan and Eric. Thanks for following. Stay safe. That came from Renegade Comics. That was probably an automated message. But no, it's clearly saying Dan and Eric, so it's a personalized message.
Not automated.
So it's not automated. So there you go. Thank you, Renegade Comics, for the Christmas greeting. Right?
We appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Was that the only one I have? I'm so bad with this kind of stuff.
Computers in general?
Someone Mark L. sent an Amy Sedaris thing. This is actually something I posted on my own. So we both found the same funny Amy Sedaris thing of a movie where Sandra Dee and Constance Ford, or one of them is slapping the other. It's fine. Everything's fine. Mandalorian was good. It's all connected because it all goes to yeah, it's fine.
It's all sci-fi.
It's all sci-fi. Amy
done?
Sedaris to Mandalorian from our Instagram.
I got you.
Too. It's good.
I totally followed it.
Hey, if you want
to talk
stickers,
about Dune a little bit, or
if you want stickers, Dan, you can send PO. No, you can't send a PO box. You have to send something to a PO box.
Yep.
Which is, what's up with our website?
A self-addressed stamped envelope.
Yeah, to PO Box, what is it, 2131?
Yep, 2131, Red Bank, New Jersey. Zip code is...
I should know this because this is freaking my P.O. box.
This is where you live.
P.O. Box 2131, Red Bank, New Jersey 07701.
Jesus.
I was complaining before. I was like, what's up with our website? Because I was looking at our Instagram page thinking it was our website. And I'm like, this footer is different. Why is it? This doesn't make any sense. Copyright Facebook. Yeah, it doesn't. So it's fine.
Yeah, no, we're owned by Facebook now. Everyone's owned by Facebook. I think we did it, though. Let's get the heck out of here.
We did.
Eric.
We gotta go. Oh,
Until
Happy
next
New
time.
Year. Let's
Happy New Year!
This is the end of 2020. Thank you for sticking with us for 5 years. We're going to be hitting year number 6.
Oh, geez.
So that's something, right? 6 years of this. And,
definitely something.
We're really not stopping because we have a lot more episodes to go. And speaking of episodes,
20 more years.
so many more episodes. Speaking of episodes, what comes next? You may be asking. War Games Part
We
2
know already.
comes next.
We've mentioned this, folks.
We did.
So
Is that? Oh, and this is the end of Troughton. So we will save our Troughton and final ta-da review of Patrick Troughton's run as a doctor because we don't. This is it. It's the end of Troughton for us.
Did we do that for Colin Baker? Did we do like a whole like ta-da?
I think we did.
Did we do that for each of them?
I think we did. Every time it was the end of
I
the
think-
doctor, we at least we do that for companions.
Oh, you're right. You're right, because when it was the end of Colin Baker, all I did was a 5-minute fart sound.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'll save everything until next time, but we will review
Okay.
our Patrick Troughton. We got to say
Fantastic.
So there you go. That's it. I got nothing else. We're just.
We keep saying we have
rolling
nothing
them
else, and yet we
wheels.
keep going.
Hey, do you know
Feel
that?
free to edit all this out.
Hold on. Do you know if you go to the olddoctorwhoshow.com and you go to the schedule page, and each one of the things has a little buy button where you buy, and it links you over to Amazon, and we get a little cut of that action, which I don't think anyone uses.
We get like
these
3
links, 'cause
cents.
I think
no one uses
we
it.
haven't gotten any money. But if you go to the Doctor Who War Games, you can buy the DVD for $389.
Oh,
Who is
that's a pretty
buying
good deal.
the DVD for $389? Why is it that much money?
Those commentaries must be amazing.
I don't know. So if you can solve that mystery of why it's $389, please write us.
You could probably only solve it by using the buy link there.
Yes,
That's
and
probably
if
the
you
only way to
yes,
solve
if
that
you're going to
mystery.
buy it for that much money, because do we get a percentage of the sale price?
I don't think we.
I don't think we get
know.
anything.
I think we get like an Amazon gift card for 5
Yeah, they don't
cents.
give
I
us
don't know
anything.
what we get.
It's fine. You could figure out other ways to pay us. You could always. Maybe we should get a Patreon.
No,
And
I
start
think they should
doing
just pay
live
us
video,
likes and reviews.
live video tours of Dan's house. Just think about it.
That's what we should be doing. You're absolutely right.
All right. All right.
okay, we are
that's
so
it.
done.
Let's go. Let's cue
Goodbye.
whatever song I picked, and we're done.
He's a genius, folks.
2021.
Peace.
Peace. Oh, all right. God.
Stop
That was
recording.
hard. No.
Shall we play a game?
Where's my robot? You know?